Welcome, trainers, to the first official podcast of Season 4. We have a full panel today. I'm Mike Neely. With me, as always, trainer of the newly named Golden State War Turtles, Jeremy Temple.
Hey.
And returning for Season 4, our podcast partner, trainer of Team No-Hawk, Seth Graham.
Hey.
And our special guest tonight, the three-time PBF Grand Champion, trainer of Team Ratatas Tatas, and next year will be the Tyrannostars, Mr. Drew Adam.
Hey.
So Drew, congratulations yet again.
Thank you.
Was this one any different for you? Did it feel any different? Was it a little more difficult?
Yeah, I mean, basically to win the championship this time, I had to get lucky in a 172-turn stall match, so wasn't exactly skill-based as much as my last couple ones, but managed to pull it out. I guess Arceus was sending me good vibes or something.
Yeah. I know Jeremy and I have our thoughts pretty well documented on that 172-turn stall game. At any point, did you just want to forfeit and give Pingle the title?
Oh, no, I was never going to forfeit that. If there's one thing I am more than good at Pokemon or lucky, it is competitive as hell. So there was no way I was ever just going to give it to him. I was going to make him work all 172 turns for it if it was going to take that long.
Yeah, that was... He almost... I don't even know what to say about that anymore. My brain kind of died after the hour mark for that one.
I think Gordon pretty much summed it up when he was laughing his ass off because he was saying they're rooting for the negative status effects on their own Pokemon because that's what's going to help them win. And when a battle reaches that point, it's pretty much not worth playing anymore, but for some reason we kept on going and finished it out the right way.
So Drew, besides winning the whole thing, what were your thoughts on Season 3, just kind of in general?
I thought the playoffs went really well. Besides the two forfeits we had in the first round, I think everything went pretty well. All the games were really competitive, and I really liked that they actually got some attention for when they were being played live. That we were able to post them in the group and get people to watch them live. I thought that was good. The season went really well to start, and then something happened in the middle. I don't remember exactly, what it was that derailed everything, but we don't remember what it is. It never happened, so we just moved on, and it was fine. Yeah, but it was a pretty typical season still in terms of the draft being the same. So I'm actually looking forward to having something different that's in the same mold as the last couple seasons that have worked, but it's going to be different enough to give everybody a more even keel and keep everyone's interest from the start.
And we'll put a pin in that draft idea and get back to it in a second. But Seth, what will you remember about Season 3?
I think personally the best part about Season 3, like
I didn't know your name was Seth now.
I think the best part about Season 3 was
I don't know why you're stepping all over our podcast partner's feet here, Jeremy.
No, I'm gonna continue to answer the question now, if you would not interrupt. I think the best part of Season 3 was that it led to Season 4. Out with the old, in with the new. I think after 3 seasons, we have finally made these adjustments that are going to. I think we have a really good shot of having a solid 5-week season with no interruptions, no breaks, with a system that's going to make the most even teams that we've had yet and make it, I think, the most competitive season yet.
Well, Seth, before we get your opinions on all these new changes, do you have any opinions about Season 3?
I've already told you my opinions. I mean,
Jeremy, what do you think?
Well, it's
I'm glad you finally directed the question towards me. No, I don't know. I guess I hate to say it, but season 3 was a little rough. Just in terms of like, we did hit like a standstill there in the middle. I think the doubles tournament was like a really good idea, and it was like fun, but I don't know, that definitely seemed to put like a halt on a lot of things. But I don't know. I just think it wasn't bad. I did very poorly, but I mean it was still battling. It was still fun. I mean we were doing battles like fairly consistently, so everybody was participating during the weekly battles that were scheduled. We got all those done, so I don't know. I think it was a little rough around the edges compared to what we were used to, but I mean, we always make the necessary changes in the next season to try to make it even better and better. So I think it'll bounce back real well.
If I could throw out a little nugget of wisdom, there's a saying, I'm not sure how used or frequently used it is, but it's kind of like the negative from season 3, or whenever bananas get really, really brown. You know, I mean, I like my bananas brown, but sometimes they get to a point where they're too brown. And what you typically do with those really brown bananas is you make banana bread. So the negatives of season 3 are like the dark brown bananas, and season 4 is like banana bread. And I think everybody loves banana bread.
What a fantastic analogy.
Absolutely. Drew, how excited are you to take a bite of season 4's banana bread?
Oh, I mean, you know, with the least points in the league, just super excited.
Yeah, you got super.
I love being put at an immediate disadvantage. Why wouldn't I be pumped?
So Drew, you mentioned that you think the new auction style will lead to more even teams. Do you think that? Do you think the points are different enough between the teams that you will, besides obviously maybe you can't build a 10-person team? Are you worried about the quality of Pokemon you can get?
Oh no, I mean, I think what the draft simulation proved, for anyone who watched it, was that you can get a solid 6 Pokemon team without any effort. You know, you can draft mostly OUs and UUs no matter who you are if you want just a 6-person team. If you can handle working with some lesser known or less popular Pokemon, you can still get a solid 10 Pokemon team and have those options. So I don't think anyone's at a disadvantage. Like I'm looking at this like I might get one in the top 10 and then I'll have to slow down a little bit and go for some of the lower tier Pokemon. But it's not like I don't know most of the Pokemon well enough to deal with it, and most of the skill players out there can deal with some of the lower tier Pokemon too and make use out of them where we usually don't see use out of them in the competitive metagame. So I think that because we're playing in a tournament where not everyone can get top tier OUs, a lot more Pokemon are viable, and because of that, the auction style should work out well because lower tier Pokemon are much more viable for different reasons in this kind of metagame.
Now, Jeremy or Seth, whichever one of you wants to answer first, do you think the point scales, the point ranges are, I guess, wide enough or different enough that it will create the evenness throughout the league that we're going for? Or do you think that the people who are on top are still have enough points to stay on top without being threatened by the people who are usually on the bottom?
Yeah, no, I don't think it'll be I don't think we'll have the problem of it being too top heavy, just because some people get a significantly more points. I don't think we'll run into that. The battles I think will be competitive regardless. We're just trying to close that skill gap, I guess, a little bit, just to level the playing field, which I'm fine with. But yeah, no, I don't think you'll see any Like, I don't think just because Drew has, like, no points, like, I don't think, like, it's not like he can't get any wins, and it's not like he can't be competitive. Like, it just changes how he has to do it. So, I don't know. I think it's okay.
Yeah, I suppose you could say we're making an effort to, make the achievement gap narrower. But at the same time, I mean, I didn't really understand your question, so I'm just kind of talking because you talked all about the on top and on bottom stuff. And
Are we actually going to get the parity that we want?
Well, we should, because you are at school for like applied statistics or something, and you came up with the number distribution. So if we don't, then your education's absolutely useless. But what I'm saying here is that this should be a very balanced draft, and I think that the people that usually are terrible, like Blacka, have a much better chance at this season than they do in previous seasons. But at the same time, I mean, this isn't, I mean, the points aren't perfect. Like, for example, we kind of took an aggregate of all 3 previous seasons to do the point totals. It's like how well everyone did in the previous 3. And, I think Nohawk and I got a little lucky with how many points we actually have, because we typically do pretty well in the regular season, except Nohawk last season. And we usually have a first-round playoff exit. And that's benefited us now. So, I mean, the points aren't going to be perfect, but I think we tried hard, and I think your statistics degree will hopefully prove if it's worth it.
I sure hope so. What do you have to say to people who don't think this is a good idea and just want to go back to the snake draft?
And go make your own league and have a snake draft.
That's about right.
I mean, I would just tell people to, like, hang in there and just, like, give it a shot before, like, just see how it goes. Like, you can't really disapprove of it until you take part in it and see, like,
Yeah, I mean, I can't say for a fact, but I know for a fact that this draft is going to work better if everyone is there. That's the biggest problem, and I think everyone is, said they'll be there. We gave like a month heads up, and if 1 or 2 people aren't there, that's okay. Like, I could draft for at least 1 person, but I can't draft for 2 other people, because then you kind of create this conflict. Like, if I'm drafting for Gordon or something, and Gordon says, "Oh, hey, make sure you get me Gyarados," I'll be like, "Well, what if I wanted Gyarados?" So, I mean, I probably wouldn't do that because I'm going to beat Gordon anyway. But, I mean, everyone needs to be there. I think I remember saying that on a podcast once or several times. But,
I think so.
Yeah. So, if everyone's there, it's going to work. I talked to Gordon a little bit about the program last night. It is almost done. It should be done in 10 days, and we should have time to test it. I don't know what we want to do about, like, Skype or something, because last time we did a Skype while we drafted or something, it was on a delay. And
yeah, 30 seconds in this draft would be a whole pick behind. So I don't know if that'll work.
Yeah, so, but I mean, I'm fairly certain. I don't know if it's going to be pretty, the program. I don't care if it's pretty, as long as it's intuitive and you can see who's up for bid. If there's problems, there should be built-in things where we can, like, pause the auction if we need to, if it's getting a little confusing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It should be fun. It should be fine. I mean, Noah and I have the same amount of points, so I think I'm just going to bid on everyone he bids on.
All right.
I haven't really chosen a strategy here. I mean, I was during the simulation, which if you guys haven't watched it, anyone watching this, I'm guessing the people that watch this probably watch that, all 3 of you. I would go watch it just because I kind of showed a couple strategies you can do where, I mean, I bid on like 5 straight OU guys, or you wait until the end, and I think the teams turned out pretty balanced. Obviously, I didn't take into account types or roles or anything, but just as far as like on paper, name, power, ratings, top billing and drawing, I think everything worked out, and I think it'll be a good time.
And if you do want to watch that video, you can click on the PBF YouTube channel, which should be somewhere down here maybe. And while you're clicking it, you should probably subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any awesome podcasts.
But I thought the buttons were actually up there, Peasley.
No, I think they're definitely down here somewhere.
That's not how you do it.
So besides just bidding on the same guys that NoHawk does anybody have any general strategy ideas? Obviously, you don't have to call out who you're going to target, but is there any sort of guidelines that you would
suggest? I'm going to target Mike. I'm probably going to bid against him, too. So I don't really care what team I get. BRB. What'd you say, Joe?
Walk away, Joe. Walk away.
I'll be back. Great. All right, anyway, as I was saying, I think my role in this draft is to make sure that no one's happy with their team.
As a good admin should.
Yeah. I know Mike's really set on a few guys. Like, I think Mike really wants, like, Pikachu. Woof, woof. I know Mike's going to bet the farm on him, and I'm just going to bid a little higher. I'm going to conserve my points for moments like that when it really matters.
Yeah. For me, for my strategy, since I always overdo everything that I do in this league,
which is why you're a 3-time champion.
It's why I put the effort into it. What I went ahead and did was went
All right,
through.
whose dog is that?
I think that's outside my window.
He's like, you take your computer, No. Take your speaker out to that window.
Drew, as you were saying.
Yeah.
Sorry, Drew.
That's okay. As I was saying, I went through and checked out all the Pokemon and saw ones in the higher rounds that I really wanted to bid on, put a tag on those. Saw the ones I kind of wanted to bid on, put a tag on those, and then went through and assigned kind of a max bid value that I would do for any of those. So basically, you have some idea going into it, what kind of Pokemon you like, what kind of Pokemon you've used before and are good with, and what kind of what amount of points you would want to spend on them. And so with that, you can kind of form your strategy ahead of time. You don't have to freak out every time there's a new pick and you don't get something you want, because you have something coming up in the auction that you still would want to get and want to put on your team. Because I think one of the problems with this one is your strategy can be completely disrupted by some asshole like Jeremy who bids 130 on a Pikachu, and then you're completely screwed for the rest of the draft because you didn't get that Pokemon that you thought you needed. So as long as you always have a backup plan, as long as you always have something coming up in the auction that you think you could use or you think you could make use of and get for a decent price, then you're going to be fine for this auction.
Yeah, the backup plan is super important because there's no trades and no waivers. So now you got to consider that.
I think my strategy will be to wing it. As in, so it's kind of like fantasy. Some people do fantasy draft, like fantasy football, with like dollar values and something. And it's kind of, I've always taken the approach to those where if I think there's a guy, say, whoever it is, there's a Pokemon up, OU, whatever, OUU, whatever. If I know I like them, and I think that the current point value that they're at is low, I'll probably bid. I'm gonna try to I don't know. I'm just gonna look for steals and maybe opportunities where, just to get a freebie, and then if not, probably just fall back to guys I know.
There will be no freebies for you, Noah.
Well, I'm sure. I don't know. I mean, it's a draft. Like everything is based on how what people value in Pokemon that they want to use. So, I don't know. I just feel like certain Pokemon will fall through the cracks in terms of point value, and you'll be able to pick them up fairly free.
Yeah, and if you go through the list, you can see some Pokemon on there that are perfectly viable but are really low on the point list.
Yeah, for like the minimum, you mean?
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Amoonguss, which was arguably my MVP for the PBF Season 3, kept me in that second game, is starting at 40 points right now, and I'm really mad that I just said that because now all y'all are going to be going after Amoonguss. But yeah, basically there are some steals out there already on that list. Like you can get a decent Pokemon that you know really well that's OU for a solid price, but there are Pokemon out there that are really good for the prices that they're going for right now.
Yeah.
So just stick to your strategy, stick to what you know. If you're a defensive kind of guy like me, go for defensive Pokemon. I'm not going to bid on Talonflame. I'm not going to touch them. And if you go for the Talonflames and the Sweepers out there, then go for those.
Yep.
Well, based on Jeremy's strategy, he probably won't have enough points to bid on Amoonguss that late, Drew, so you should be fine there. A couple people had questions about the list. So just to clarify, no legendaries again. That seemed to be pretty popular last year. And the 160, I think it's like 162 now that we chose, basically came from Jeremy's head. So if there's someone on the roster you don't like, blame him. The other it changed this season is we're only going to do 5 weeks. It's going to be 2 games a week, which can be a little tricky, but only 5 weeks, and we're hoping that that doesn't leave anybody time to get too bored or want to leave. So do you think that's going to have a big effect on the season? I mean, it's not a lot of time to really adjust anything in your team with only 10 games over 5 weeks.
I mean, it's pretty much how long last season lasted. And by the end of that, if you've played all your games, you know what you're doing. You know what your team's weaknesses and strengths are. I think it's good that it's a little bit set to be a little bit shorter this season. So we'll have an idea of when the playoffs are coming up. And I think 2 games a week has always been fine. One game a week is good for the people who will be doing battle commentaries and for all the podcasts and everything because they'll have a little more time. But I think if you're only doing 1 game a week, you can get more disconnected than if you're doing 2 a week because you can just do it at the beginning of a week and then do it at the end of the next week, and you don't have any idea what you're doing with your team at that point. So I think it's a good format.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Well, Drew, thank you for having thinking about people who are putting on podcasts every week. It's very generous of you. So yeah, those are pretty much the changes. Playoffs are going to be the same format. I don't know if we decided.
Well, playoffs are going to be a little bit different because this season we kind of called an audible and had everybody in the playoffs, but it's going to kind of go back to the more traditional thing where the winner of the Pearl Conference faces the winner of the Diamond Conference in the finals. That's the way I think it was season 1. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's going to be. So you want to win your conference, and you win the thing. Yeah, it's basically like every sport ever. It's just...
And just taking a look at the conferences and the divisions, Drew, it's gonna be tough for you to make it out of yours.
Wait, hold on. I need to.
I don't know what those are right now.
I was gonna read them off.
Okay, hold on. I haven't seen these. Random.org. Okay. What do we got here?
Sorry, is everybody ready now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll read them off to you, Drew. It's fine.
I got it.
Okay, so
I got it now. I'm good.
In the Darkrai division, it is Champion Drew, Maestro Missy, the returning Emeranzala with CC Delta Squad, and the runner-up from this year, Team Rally Fortify, trained by Alex Pingle.
Ugh.
So Drew, thoughts on the group of death?
So CC Delta squad is Emi Ronzala.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember him being pretty solid.
Yeah.
I mean, for the last season, I had a really tough division too. The regular season's, I do fine in it, but it's not where I thrive. I always lose a couple games during that, so I can handle it. I'll be fine.
He's Gucci.
And Jeremy and Seth are in the same conference, but in different divisions. Jeremy
You're
is
not in my division this season.
nope. Jeremy is with Gordon, which should be fun, and Black, which should be fun, and John.
Wait, what the hell is this division?
ask the man who drew them up there, Drew.
Gordon and Blacka? And I have Pingle and Missy?
Hey, whoa. Gordon and Blacka try real
offense.
hard.
No offense to Blacka, but...
Hey, what?
No offense to Blacka, but he's not good at Pokemon.
You know what I should have done? Is I should have
He's not going to watch us anyways, so...
yeah,
Also true.
this
Also
division's way too good for me to change it. But I should have done, instead of random.org, is made it so like one person from like each point distribution is in a division.
I don't think it would have turned out that way, but
No,
it's
that
a
would
good
have
thought.
been dumb. No, that would have been bad. That would have been real bad. I don't know. It's done. What's done is done.
Yeah. And No Hawks Conference includes Silver Dial, Richard Haynes, Joe and Amphrosimus, and the newest member of the PBF, JP.
James,
with
yes.
Is
What can you tell us
your
about
friend?
Yeah,
what can you tell us about JP?
I work with JP. He is he's an avid Pokemon guy. I would say more so than even Delaney helped us out last season. He filled in. He had fun doing it, but he's busy with work and stuff now. So he said he could do it if we needed him, but we got our numbers. But yeah, no, JP's big Pokemon guy. And he's one of those guys who like his favorite part of the game is like breeding, and like so he's I mean most true fans of the games like really spend the time to breed and do like take advantage of every part of the game. So he loves it. So he's just like a huge fan. Kind of not like hasn't competitively battled like a ton, but he's familiar with how it works and all that. So. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah,
Are
I
you
mean,
worried
last...
about him? Sorry.
What's that?
Yeah, last season you said Delaney hadn't competitively battled at all, but he knew plenty about the game, and with the team that you gave him, he was really a solid threat. He was in a tough division, and he really competed pretty hard. So
I know.
Props to Delaney. I'm glad we had him on, and I think if JP knows if he's been involved with Pokemon for plenty of years, I think he'll be great.
Yeah. Delaney would he would always message me like after some of his battles, and he'd be like, man, he's like, I lost by like one move, and like he's like I should have done this, or he was like, I just like couldn't deal with it. He was all about it, so he definitely had fun doing it. Like I said, he just got pretty busy, so yeah, it was good. I think it was good having him, and I think JP will be the same way. He's excited about it, so.
Would you go so far as to say with we gave JP a pretty high point total? Do you think that would make him one of the favorites?
No, I mean, isn't he like kind of middle of the pack point total?
1,400?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
he's
that sounds right.
1,400. The highest being 1,500 and the lowest being 1,220.
And he has 14.
Yeah.
So he's in the top half. No, I think that's fair. We battled on Showdown every now and then at work, but and like his like competitive batting skills, kind of like I hinted at, aren't fantastic.
Hey, they're not polished, but that's what
Exactly. So I think that's a fair value to give him, because because I don't know. I think with that point value, he'll be with everybody else.
And then my Dialga division has Zach O'Connor with the Speedwagon Foundation, Andrew Arnold with Magic Carpet Ride, who I always seem to be in a division with, and DJ, who lost the Battle of Anaheim Ducks teams last year and has honorably changed his name to Swanna Lake. So good for him. So with those conferences, can you does anybody see two names that jump out at them as favorites for the finals next year?
Yeah, the two things that really jump. First off, Joe, you need to shut the hell up.
It's Jesse.
Oh, okay, then he's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, the two things that are really jumping out at me are 2 and long, and that's really what this podcast is at this point. I was told like half an hour.
I was told to not put a timer on it.
My laptop's gonna die in like 5 minutes.
Okay, then, Jeremy, why don't you bring us home? Tell us why we should be excited for Season 4.
Because it's banana bread, man. That's it.
You can't really argue with that.
If you're there at 8 p.m. May 13th, everyone's getting a slice, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be great. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
No better way to end it. So everybody out there, enjoy your banana bread.
Yeah, hell yeah, let's go.